Onimusha Warlords is an action-adventure game developed and published by Capcom, released in 2001, later remastered for modern hardwares. It is a PS2 classic, and if I knew it was basically the original Devil May Cry mixed with Resident Evil, but with a samurai theme, I would have played it a lot sooner. So let's get into it, shall we? It is set in the Sengoku era Japan. You will play as Samanosuke, who must fight his way through a whole bunch of demons to rescue Princess Yuki and save Japan. It is apparently inspired by real historical figures and events, but with a supernatural twist, which is cool, but I can't tell you how accurate it is to history though. It's a dark and eerie game, almost horror-like in its atmosphere and tone. Lots of people die. Their bodies are found all about the areas. It mixes in Japan mythology well. It's a pretty engaging narrative, but it's very simple. Basically the same as Mario and doesn't go much further than that. It has likable characters and hateable villains. There's just not a lot of development for them. The most and best you get for Sam is when he tells the child that he rescued he should go out and see the world so he can learn and share more. It's made so just having a cool looking dude doing cool looking things makes him a likable protagonist. Notes can also be found throughout which help flesh out the world and make some of the story elements more clear, like what the bad guy is actually going to do to the princess. You can also later get an item to speak to dead bodies which you find, which will also do the same or help you find secrets. One of them told me about a treasure behind a waterfall which I defo would have missed. Thanks, random dead guy. So how's the gameplay? It's a good fair challenge. The combat is mostly swordplay. You'll have a light attack on one button and a heavy magic attack on another. This has a meter which drains when you use it. There is a block button as well, so I mostly use light attacks, blocks and save my magic for the stronger enemies. There is a counter attack system where you can kill an enemy in one hit, but I didn't figure out how to do this. It would happen on accident when I pulled it off. You can also finish an enemy off when they're on the floor, but this normally takes a few seconds, meaning you'll get hit if there are other enemies around. You get 3 different swords and a secret 4th which handle differently from each other and let you perform different magic attacks. The blue sword is lightning, it's the fastest of the swords and the one I use the most often. Its magic attack lets you hit a single enemy a bunch of times, then hitting them with a powerful lightning move which can damage nearby enemies. This is also the first sword you find, very similar to Devil May Cry 1. The second is a fire sword. The attacks are the slowest but do the most damage. Its magic attack shoots a fire trail in front of Sam, damaging anyone in front of him. The third sword is a wind sword. This is the best at crowd control. It hits enemies multiple times but isn't very strong. Its magic attack creates a mini tornado around Sam which damages anyone caught in it. It's great for when you're surrounded. And the final sword is a demon sword. This is the strongest in the game and is found literally just before the final boss. It is unlocked by beating all floors of the Dark Realm, which is a series of harder and harder fights in the most challenging part of the game, but is optional. This weird guy who drops from the ceiling takes your day. I couldn't tell you why. You can also get some ranged weapons like a bow or a rifle. The bow is sometimes useful for cutting away ropes for puzzles. I didn't really use these in combats as it's normally easier and funner just to use the swords. When you defeat enemies, their souls will start floating around and eventually disappear. You will have to hold the absorb button to collect them, leaving you vulnerable to attack as Sam stands still to do this. I like this as it creates tension and strategy when to do this, but can be annoying sometimes. Souls can refill your health and magic depending on its colour. The most common are used to level up your equipment. You level up and save in safe rooms found throughout the game at these shrines. The level up system is done through a meter. You need to fill, say, your sword meter all the way for it to gain a level. I personally would rather use numbers as more clear how many souls I needed to level up. You also have to level up your seals if you want to progress. These are like keys to open doors with seals on them. If a door has, say, 2 seals on it, you need a level 2 seal to open it, meaning you may have to grind out some souls if you put them all into weapons. There are a good variety of enemies for such a short game. You've got regular samurai looking demons, some later have shields or bows, invisible demons which can only appear when they're about to attack you, big bull dudes who do a lot of damage, these bug type enemies, ones that roll at you from across the level, and the most annoying are these floating blue enemies who are hard to hit, steal floating souls and fly off with them after a little bit. The bosses are pretty alright, nothing too special. They're big and intimidating but not overly difficult to take down, just move, block and attack when you can. 3 times in the game you'll swap characters to Katie, a female ninja who will help Sam when he's in trouble. She plays the same as Sam but only has 2 swords. One is a secret you can find later on. Instead of magic moves, she gets throwing knives, and if you move her whilst blocking, she will dodge out the way. She can't be leveled up and doesn't have to collect orbs, but she can use doors Sam can't use, so you get to see new areas with her. It was a nice change to play as her, but nothing too crazy. You explore the game's world like you would in an old Resident Evil with fixed camera angles, locked coloured doors where you have to find the corresponding key to open them, a similar map which tells you the colour of the locked doors, resource scattered throughout, lots of backtracking and classic Capcom puzzles. The puzzles were nothing too hard, mostly just use the items you found in the right place. There are optional chests which require you to translate an answer answer to the question. You do this by finding certain books hidden throughout the game. They normally have health upgrades inside them. There are also these chests that require you to solve a lock through a little mini game. You have to get the numbers in the right places in the correct amount of moves. I found both these chests a nice little challenge, but not too difficult. They are mostly optional too, except for one. I think the game still looks pretty good today. I like the pre-rendered backgrounds, they're quite detailed, and paired with the fixed camera angles you can get some pretty looking shots. Do some parts look outdated? Yes, but it didn't bother me too much. The characters look quite impressive for their times, even though their facial animations sometimes aren't the best. You can tell the enemies apart and they have some cool demonic designs. The voice acting isn't the best, it's very cheesy but still charming, but a little too much like the OG Resident Evil in places. This one bad guy has a terrible high pitched voice which I didn't think suited the character. The Japanese voice acting is a lot stronger in my opinion. Overall, I enjoyed my time with Onimusha Warlords. It plays like Resident Evil but with swords in a Japanese setting, which I love. It's a great blend of samurai action and horror elements which Capcom did so well back in the day. The combat is fun and satisfying but a bit dated. I wish the game was a bit longer as I beat it in about 4 hours. That way maybe they could have added more to the story. So let's rank it. I really like this game. It did everything it was trying to do well, but nothing I haven't been done in other games like Resident Evil, Devil May Cry. It was also a bit too short for me. I'm gonna put it below Death Stranded. Onimusha had more going on than Vampire Hunters, which was ranked so highly based on its fun factor, but it wasn't as unique or told as strong as a story as Death Stranding, which may have been frustrating at times but defo trying to be innovative. It does leave me excited to try other Onimusha games in the future. Well, I guess goodbye, Samurai.